Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. I'm Eddie the Chump and today we'll be having an open discussion about the issue of toxicity in Overwatch. Now we get a lot of requests to talk about this. It seems many of you experience this in your matches and it's very hard to know what to do. Now I'm going to be frank, we experience this too. It's not specific to any one rank or role or other significant identifier. Competitive games get toxic, that's just a reality. To expect everyone to react in a well-mannered neutral way under intense performance-related pressure isn't that reasonable. Neither is it reasonable to totally tilt your teammates through disruptive or overly confrontational behaviour, especially if it's for a prolonged period of time. I'm going to let you guys on a little secret. Me, Eddie the Chump, the guy with the memes and the jokes, has an incredible capacity for toxicity. It takes an enormous amount of self-control to bite my tongue sometimes. There was a time when this was not so. I've been on both sides of the toxicity divide, and I know how destructive it can be to other people's concentration, which when you really think about it, is one of the worst byproducts. Let's take a typical scenario. Someone picks a hero that people don't rate in a certain scenario, so a teammate might bring that up. Hey man, can you swap the Hanzo? Flash forward to a part of the match where the team are being beaten or struggling. Hey Hanzo, can you please swap dude, you're doing nothing. Hey man, I have gold damage, what have you done? And so on and so on. I know for a fact you've all heard this exact exchange in a game before. Swap out Hanzo for any hero really, I only said that as an example. Now those interactions can very quickly descend into a full-blown argument, going back and forth, distracting everybody else, perhaps tilting them too, and the team's performance will keep declining. That's the general worst case scenario. You do also get the occasional full-blooded, deliberate throwing as an end result. In those scenarios, it's very hard to keep a level head and not succumb to frustration. I don't actually think it's possible to rise above it every time. I find it incredibly draining personally. I'm sure many of you guys do too. So what can you do about it? Is there anything that actually helps? Well, to answer that question, I think we need to accept a few truths. Firstly, not every toxic game is savable. I know, that sounds terrible. But I want to make this clear. Knowing that and letting yourself give up every time you're confronted with toxicity are two totally different things. Of course it's better to try and talk someone down, but if they're really tilted, they may not be in a mental place where they can actually hear you. The first step should always be trying to open up a friendly and conciliatory dialogue. You never know what can send someone over the tilt cliff. It might have been something that happened in a previous game for all you know. Try to reach them if you can. Bringing a player or an argument back from the brink will never get player the game, but it might be the biggest reason you win instead of losing. But what if that's not possible? What if it's so bad all you can hear are your teammates' arguments in your ears as they forget everything they know about playing as a team? Well, firstly, try to not let it tilt you in response. This is the thing I struggle with the most. When someone is being super toxic and just yelling in my ears or angrily spouting absolute nonsense about how to play the game, I find myself doing one of two things. Either I can shut down mentally and completely lose concentration. I tend to play much worse myself in that scenario. Or very, very rarely I boil over and respond in a way that's vitriolically not constructive. Fighting fire with fire is how I describe it, but the odd occasions where that has happened, everyone just ends up burnt with less ELO in their pockets. I'm not perfect, nobody is, but I really think it comes down to this. Overwatch is a team game, but the way a lot of us play it is in solo queue or small groups. The only thing you're really ever in control of is your own play. There are rare times where the best thing you can do is shut out the noise and concentrate on doing the best job you can. This is what I've started to do. Very occasionally, when the situation is just so toxic that I can't hear myself think, I've muted the toxic teammate and just tried to do my team role to the best of my ability, while coordinating with my other teammates. Now I know that in some ways this goes against the whole idea of dealing with the toxicity, and by doing that you lose the ability to make calls for that player or hear calls from them. But here's the thing, in those extreme cases when you can't even concentrate, what good is a tactical call out going to make if nobody can hear it? I do just want to say though, suggesting something to a teammate, like a hero swap for tactical reasons, or asking your tanks to initiate if they display too much hesitation to do so, isn't toxic by definition. I think as a community we can do a better job of not letting our feelings or our egos get in the way of winning games. I'm not above it, I'm a very emotional player. I don't always take criticism of my play well, but that's no excuse. Surely the end goal in a competitive environment is to do whatever it takes to win the game you're in. I feel sometimes that we can get confused when it comes to telling the difference between a straight tactical call and a personal attack. They're not the same thing. A final note on toxicity. Always try to diffuse the situation first. Try to play with people as much as you can. A big factor to consider is actually your tone of voice. This sounds stupid, and in some ways it is, that you have to navigate this interpersonal diplomatic nightmare. But the reality is that people can be toxic for many different reasons, and it's important to keep your composure. If you respond in a confrontational or antagonistic way to someone who is already at DEFCON tilt, the result is very likely to be that the situation worsens. It's the internet. Everyone can be a little defensive when challenged. With that all said, you'll have to accept that there will be times where that's not possible, and do what you can to not let it affect your own performance. The great thing is, matchmaking is played in a loose way, tactically speaking, so just making sure you don't tilt in response might just be enough to win, toxic teammates and all. I'm absolutely sure this will cause debate, so let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to leave a rating. If you never want to miss one of our videos again, please click the bell icon next to the subscribe button on our channel to join the notification squad. You'll be in good company. And finally, please follow the Your Overwatch Twitter. It's where you can find updates about new videos and other cool stuff. I've been Eddie the Chump, and until next time.